Joe Rogan slams woke big tech employees as mentally ill. Let's check it out.
The lunatics are running the asylum to a certain extent because there's a lot of people, the company that she works for now, so a lot of people that are inside the company that legitimately are mentally ill and they consider themselves activists and they have to placate them because it's a certain percentage of the population of the people that work for the company and they're the loudest and they oftentimes don't get work done and when confronted they talk about their activism.
Okay. So Joe Rogan took aim at woke activist employees of large Silicon Valley tech firms, calling them mentally ill and lunatics who are running the asylum to a certain extent. Rogan made the comments on his Spotify podcast during an interview Wednesday with Antonio Garcia Martinez, an ex-engineer at Apple and Facebook, who parted ways with the iPhone maker after employees complained of misogynistic writings in his book, which, by the way, apparently he also recently just left Ukraine. Like he was actually there on the ground in Ukraine. So it was an interesting listen. So during the segment, Rogan asked Martinez what it was like to work for a large tech firm. For someone from the outside, we look at it and say, how are those effing places run? Rogan said. The stand up comedian then said he had a conversation with a good friend who was in a management position at Google before leaving the firm for another large tech company. The way she described it to me was, it is utter madness, Rogan said. The lunatics are running the asylum to a certain extent because there's a lot of people working inside the company now that legitimately are mentally ill and they consider themselves activists, according to Rogan. He added that the tech bosses at these companies have to placate the workers because they're a certain percentage of the population that works for the company, and they're the loudest and they oftentimes don't get work done. Rogan said that when these workers are confronted over not getting work done, they talk about their activism. He said his friend was forced to reprimand tech workers by telling them, "You are here for X amount of hours per day. This is your effing job. You're not an activist." Martinez told Rogan that the companies are partly to blame because workers are encouraged by human resource departments to bring the real self to work. He described big tech firms like Facebook as kind of like a cult since employees are brought to a campus lifestyle where they do your laundry for you and feed you. Facebook was a cult and I joined it and I was a happy member of it, Martinez said. It was very powerful. Everyone sacrificed themselves for the sake of the empire and its emperor. And Rogan has been a frequent critic of tech firms for censoring and deplatforming those with viewpoints deemed outside the mainstream. And Spotify, which signed Rogan to a nine-figure, roughly $200 million licensing deal, was pressured to dump the controversial podcaster after rocker Neil Young and other artists removed their songs. Although, Neil Young didn't really even have that much ownership of his own songs to begin with because he sold out. So Rogan has been accused of giving a platform to skeptics of COVID-19 vaccines and pandemic lockdown measures, and he denies being an anti-vaxxer. Feel free to give your thoughts on this, but it was definitely interesting. And if you also pay attention, it is typically a small percentage of people that are complaining about different things in life.